Now we need to create a data class for the app where we can store the variables for our data. So for that we need some dependencies for room database. So the room is an ORM, object relation mapper, for SQLite database in Android. It's a part of architecture component. It makes using SQLite much easier for you by implementing annotations. So you must be wondering why we cannot use the SQLite directly. Well, actually you can use the SQLite directly, but it has its flaws, and the biggest drawback of using SQLite database directly is that it only throws runtime exception, which means that if you have any error in your query, it won't detect on compile time. You will only know about it when you actually run the app, and by that time you might have write a lot of queries or a very big query, and it can become very difficult to identify the error because it does not give you any syntax error. So you will have to manually check it every line by yourself. However, with room database you can identify the errors in your query at compile time and can prevent the app from runtime exception. So there are three main components in the room database: the database itself, entity, and a DAO, which stands for database access objects, through which we access the database. So this is a little slide to understand the room database. So this is the entity that we are going to create in this lecture. So an entity basically holds the field values, and then we are going to have a data access objects, which is an interface which is used for accessing the database, where we will create our functions, or you can call it queries, and then when we can use those queries to access the room database. So let's create the entity first. But to create an entity, we need to define or declare the room database dependencies. So let's create our room dependencies first. So we will go to the project build Gradle file, and here we need to define the version for room. So room version equals 2.0. My numlock is off, so 2.3.0. Let's sync it. Now we need to define the dependencies for room in our app level build Gradle file. So I can type here room, and the first one is going to be the Android room time, and so I can say implementation, remove the small braces, Android x dot room colon room, sorry, room, and then we can say dash runtime. And instead of passing the room version for every dependency, we have just created a room version in our extension block, so we can pass that room version. Now we need the dependencies for room itself, so we can say implementation Android X, and we can choose the first one, Android X room KTX, and again we can remove the version number here and can pass the declared room version. And the last one is going to be the room compiler. So instead of implementation we will use capt. So capt Android X, and we can choose the room compiler. Now we are done with the dependencies for room. So let's sync now. Now we can define our data class. So let's define it by going here, image repository app, right click on new Kotlin class. We can say here image, select class which is already selected. And to make it a data class, we just need to prefix it with data, and it's an entity, so we have to annotate it with @entity. Now we need the field values for our data class, so we can say curly braces. Now we need another dependencies for compose runtime, so let's quickly declare the runtime. So we can say here implementation Android X dot compose dot runtime, and then colon runtime, and here we can pass the compose version. So we need to provide the $sign, and let's quickly sync it. Now in the data class we need to define the primary key first. So to define the primary key, we can say at primary key, and for some reason it's not detecting the primary key, so let's try again. Maybe we need to rebuild the project because sometimes it does not work straight away. So let's rebuild it. So to do that, we can go to build, and first we clean the project by clean project, and then we can rebuild the project by using this rebuild project tab. It's gonna take some time. So I have now rebuilt the project, and let's see if it's able to detect the primary key annotation. So we will slowly type at primary key, and this time it has now detected. So sometimes it happens in this Android Studio that it's unable to detect the dependency straight away. So you can always go to build and clean your project and rebuild project, and it will detect the dependency again. So let's declare our primary key. So we can say val id, and it's going to be of type long. After that we need a title for our app, so we can say title, and it's going to be of type string. And after that we need another for image URL, so we can say image URL, which is also going to be of type string. And the last thing is going to be the height of the mountain, so we can say HEIGST height, also type of string. Now we need to annotate this data class with at immutable. So we will say at immutable, which requires the compose runtime. Without this dependency we cannot use this annotation. So the at immutable annotation is a promise that all public accessible properties and field value will not change after the instance is constructed. So what we are trying to establish here is that values that we have defined here, id, title, image, URL, and height, should be the same from the repository where we are trying to access the data. They should match, the repository's field value should also match with this data class, otherwise we won't be able to fetch any data. So this is a very stronger promise that the value cannot be changed even with getter and setter function. So as long as you don't have getter and setter methods in this data class, you can use this annotation. Otherwise, you should not use this annotation. So I hope that clears up with the @immutable annotation, and we can format this code with Control Alt Alt, so it would look nice. Now that we have created our data class, it's time to create the DAO interface for all the queries so we can access the database. So we need to create a package name persistence. So let's create the package. We call it persistence. And then we need to create an interface for image DAO. So we can say new Kotlin class, and here we can select the interface and we can name it image DAO. And to make it a DAO, we have to annotate it with @DAO, and now it's an interface. Now we can create all our queries inside this interface. So the first query is going to be an insert query. So we can say suspend function insert image list, and we need to pass a parameter. So here we are going to pass the images. So we can say images colon, and it's going to be of a type list, and here we need to pass our entity class. So we can say image. Choose the image class that you have created. Now we need to annotate it with @insert annotation. So here we can say @insert, and now we need to provide a strategy for images with the same primary key. So suppose if you have an image with an ID 1 and you change or update the image in the repository, but in the app you have the older image for that ID, and when you open the app, the DAO will find that there has been updated image with ID 1. So what it should do in that case? So in this case, we can provide a strategy to replace the old image with the new one. So to do that, we can say here, as it already suggests in this insert annotation, you can use the onConflict method. So we can say onConflict, and here we can say onConflict strategy, and here we can say dot replace. So what it will do, it will replace the older image with the new one for the same primary key. So that's how you manage the conflict between the older values and the new values for same primary key. Now we need a function to fetch a single image. So we can say function get image, and here we need to provide an ID because every image have a primary key. So we can say ID dash, and which is going to be of type long. So we have to provide the typing also, and here we need the live data, and I guess we have not yeah, actually we have. So we going to need live data, and here we can pass the entity, our entity. So we can pass the image entity, but sooner or later we are going to need the life cycle live data dependency. So let's declare it anyway. So let's go to the project build Gradle, and here we can say life cycle version, which is going to be 2.2.0. Let's sync now. Now let's define the lifecycle live data dependency in app level build. So we can say here lifecycle live data, and here we can say implementation Android X dot lifecycle. We can choose the lifecycle live data KTX, and we can provide the version number here. So at not at $sign and life cycle version, and let's sync now. And let's get back to our DAO. So now we need to provide the annotation for the query. So we can say here at query, because it's an query. So we can say at query, and here inside the small braces we can say select asterisk from, and here we need to pass the entity class. So we can say image where id equals, and we need to pass the colon id, and it's already showing there the variable we created here. So that was the function or query to select a single image from the repository. Now we need another function or query to fetch all of the images from the repository. So we can again say suspend function get images, or let's say get image list. That would be better. And here it's going to be of type list because it's a list of images and not a single list. And here we should provide our image entity, and again we need to annotate it with at query because it's a query. So at query, and here we can say select asterisk from image, and I guess that's it. So you must be thinking, what is suspend function and why I use it in these two queries and not in this one? The thing is that when you do big calculation process, you don't want to do it on the main thread because it can take a long time to fetch all the data as we are trying to insert or load with this function. So the suspend functions allow us to do this task in background on a separate thread. So even if it takes a long time, it won't freeze the app UI and the app will run smooth. And in this query, we are fetching a single image, so we can use just the function because one single image is not going to take a very long time. So here we don't need to use the suspend function. Now the last thing related to the room database is the database itself. So let's create a class for the room database in the persistent package. So new Kotlin class, we can call it app database, we need to make it abstract, because Room provides an abstraction layer over SQLite database to allow fluent database access while harnessing the full power of SQLite. And Room will map the database object to Java objects. Now we need to extend this class with Room database. So here we can say colon Room database. Now we need to call our DAO into this abstract class. So we can say abstract function image DAO extended by image DAO. We will have to make this function abstract because the Room database, this class itself is abstract class, and an abstract class cannot have a non-abstract function. Now we need to annotate this class with add database annotation. So add database, and we need to provide some parameters in this annotation. So the first parameter will be entities. So entities, and we can provide it in brackets. So we have only one entity in our project, so we can say image and colon class, and the next parameter we need to provide is the version. So we can say version, and it's going to be 1 because we have not created a database yet. So it start with 1. And the last parameter we need is the export schema, which have the true value by default, but we don't want to export the schema, so I can say false. So basically a schema contains the information about the structure of your database along with the history of your database versions and entities and the queries in a JSON format. So if you want to have the schema, then you can set it to true, otherwise you can set it false. So this is the end of this section in which we have set up the Room database. In the next section, we will set up our network module with the help of Daggerhilt and Retrofit.